Hey, welcome everybody. This is Luke Humphrey with Hanson's Coaching Services, and this is really just a quick introduction to the Beginner Marathon program. I'll run through real quickly how everything we want to discuss and cover, and really hopefully make sure you have decided on the right program. So, won't be much into here. Hopefully, more just an informative and let you know everything that we're going to discuss. So welcome again, and as I said, we were going to just discuss what we're really going to cover, and hopefully it will help you decide if this is the right program for you. So we'll go over who this course is for, the objectives of the course, challenges of the marathon from a training standpoint, and intro to running physiology, along with a few other things. So if you have watched the introduction to the Just Finish program, you can tell that these are pretty similar so far. There's not going to be a lot of differences between these two other than what the program is itself as far as the actual training for the program. So everything in the first, like the Just Finish program and the beginner program from an educational standpoint, is going to be pretty similar simply because to me, that's the foundation of the information that we want to provide, and then we'll build up from there. So the only real difference would be your level of experience and your level of training, deciding between the Just Finish and the beginner program. So who is this program for? It's not a beginning running program, just like we said with the Just Finish program. It's not a couch to marathon type of program. It's designed for somebody who already is running. So currently running. Here with the beginner, most beginners have run other races, 5Ks, 10Ks, half marathons, those sort of things. And they definitely have experience with structure in exercise. Workouts, things like that. So the beginner program, like a main difference between a Just Finish person and a beginner person would be, Just Finish is maybe just running 10 miles a week and hasn't run a race before, but is running. A beginner would be somebody who has run and has been running for a while. They've done other races, they just haven't run a marathon yet. Ideally, they've done some workouts like speed workout on the track or whatever the case is. Some sort of structure in their training would be ideal, but it's definitely not. That's not a deal breaker. If your mileage is high enough and you're simply looking to take that next step, this would be a good schedule for you as well. Should tolerate 20 miles a week. You start out fairly close to that, and you're at 20 miles a week very quickly into the schedule. So tolerating 20 miles a week, you can get by with a little bit less, but ideally I would say that you've run at least 20 miles a week at some point in the past, or in the recent past, maybe within the past few months, something to that effect. It's designed for somebody who might be taking a new perspective on training. A lot of times we'll get people who are transitioning from a 3-day-a-week cycle or a schedule where they've only done a couple hard workouts and really nothing else throughout the week. So this is adding more volume and adding more of the spectrum of paces into a training program. And then we'll probably get some coaches who are looking to learn a little bit more about the Hanson system. So if you've read the book, that's a great start. A lot of this will cover what we talk about in the book, but it's also going to put in some of my more recent thoughts and kind of elaborate on some things that we've written in the book, but maybe weren't quite so clear on. So a lot of things like that going on. So the course objectives themselves, so this is kind of our syllabus of what we're going to be covering. Establish marathon challenges, establish a baseline for physiology, specifically to the marathon. Establish what our training philosophies are, the Hanson's marathon method, quote unquote. Make sure you're ready to begin marathon training. We'll talk about shoe and apparel basics and mostly shoes, just because it is a crucial part. It's something that you're wearing them every day, and it's something that you have to be on top of, and we'll go over a little bit of, when I wrote the Hanson Marathon Method, the minimalist revolution was really in full effect, and we've kind of gone full circle, and even to the other end of the spectrum with shoes like the Hoka 1-1s, and other companies are jumping on that maximal cushioning type of shoe. So it's kind of funny how things go full circle, and it's only been 3 or 4 years since the whole minimalism thing. So we'll go into some what are some myths, what are things that you should consider, things like that. But again, a lot of these things are very, very important. These will make up the first several lessons that we talk about. Next, we'll go into choosing goals and some guidelines to choosing those goals. We'll give you the schedule. We'll go over running components of the schedule. So this means like easy days, what we call SOS days, or something of substance. And those include things like long runs, tempo runs, strength runs, and speed runs. And we'll talk about making adjustments, whether it's, we typically have a SOS day on Tuesday. Let's say you simply can't do Tuesdays. Your kid has baseball on Tuesdays. Well, we'll talk about how to adjust and account for that. And then, if worst case scenario, you get sick or hurt and you miss a couple weeks, we'll talk about some of those things and what you can do to kind of minimize the damage of missing time. We'll go into flexibility. The just finish, we're really going to get into some basic stuff. But with beginner, for you guys, we're going to get into a little bit more and probably talk a little bit more in depth about it. Intro to strength and resistance training, same type of idea. We'll establish a foundation and maybe build on that a little bit. Same thing with nutrition, and then developing a race plan, which is crucial, especially if you're chasing a certain time. Let's say you're chasing a Boston qualifier. What plan are you going to have in place to reach that goal? And so that's a crucial one. Then won't leave you hanging. That's something we notice sometimes, that sometimes we'll get you through a race and then it's like, now what? So we'll talk about recovery, some important aspects to recovering from the marathon, understanding the kind of damage that you've done to your body from running the marathon, not long term, but just simply breaking down muscle and from running 26 miles, things like that. And we'll talk about how to maximize recovery. So it might seem like you're taking a step back, but in essence, you're really shortening the time frame between marathon and feeling like yourself again. And then we'll talk about deciding where to go next. So if you're taking the beginner program, there's a lot of different ways to go. Do you go back to running shorter races? Do you run another marathon? Do you try to go and move up to the advanced program? Things like that. So we'll cover all of those sort of things. And above all, we hope to prepare you for a great experience, especially with the beginner program. This could be, a stepping stone into a whole different kind of path for your running, or you can decide you don't ever want to do it again. So there's a lot of different ways to go from here, but we want to make sure that this race you're going to run is the best possible experience that you can have. So with that's really about it for this course. A lot of lessons we'll be going into. It will be significant work as far as listening to me talk and taking a couple of quizzes, but it's also going to be work as far as you putting in training in. So, but we're here to help, and we're here to guide you from A to Z through the whole process. So thanks for listening, and enjoy the program.